Give us enough time. Give us enough time. Still very chill.
Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it. That's the main one.
Yes, I do. I've got one of these. Here, I need that when you have this. I need one like that. Have this one? Good? Yeah, we're
All right, it's 5 o'clock. We're going to call this budget committee meeting to order. Start with the roll call. Lee Richards, absent. Shane Walker. Here. Greg Nivens. Here. Randall Boswell. Here. Geraldine Walker.
Here.
All right. We have with us our county attorney Lillian Sales and county budget director Tommy York. We have approved minutes of the last meeting, have June 20th, 2024. Page over.
Okay. In past last meeting, so we voted to approve the minutes.
So anyway, y'all can speak up when you can hear y'all back here. Just saying that, because at our last meeting, it didn't pass. We couldn't approve them, but this
This is for the committee.
a committee meeting where we let some funds and balance it out. So we don't have anything to do with the tax increase. So I'll make a motion.
Geraldine makes a motion, I have a second. Grant, second. All right, any discussion, any questions?
Is that for the public or for you?
This is for the committee. No discussion being had, all four say aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise? All four. Next pass. All right, next, approve the following appropriation resolution, 2024-07-18-01. That'd be on the appropriation resolution on top.
What page?
Features. It'll say number 2 on it. Number, will be probably like the 12th page. I think they gave a table of contents there on your second page,
Yeah.
or third page. We'll let our budget director, Connie, kind of go over the thing.
The appropriated resolution dictates what each major category total expenditures are for each of the funds. So page 20, it will be lower and ends on page 5. It summarizes each major category.
All right, next, we'll discuss the tax levy resolution 2024-07-18-02. Be on page 7. This tax levy is where a recommendation come through of, transferring from the fund balance of $1 million, transfer to 151. That was out of the interest to go towards that settlement, so we didn't have to have the 30 cents added on to, cover that. And that would put, total of tax increase at 19.58. That would be a total, instead of 197.06, it'd be 235.64. The one proposed earlier was 267.08. That's in the third column with a 35.53 increase. This would be transferring $1 million over to the 151 to cover that, from 151, I'm sorry. Johnny, you and I had went over this before, and would you like to kind of explain how the transferring to, from, things like that works?
Okay, so currently we do not have any debt that we're making payments on. So what we have built up in that account is interest. And so if we were to transfer that portion of the interest over into the general fund, it would reduce the amount of the tax rate.
What about that lawsuit?
It's all covered.
That would be all covered and not added on to the.
So I got a question. I'm sorry to interrupt, but if I'm understanding, we're going to be taxed as the people to cover the officers and everyone who had killed that individual in the jail. So it's on us to cover that, even though the man was murdered.
Okay.
Why is it that we, the people, are getting hindered and taxed when it's not our fault? Why aren't they in jail for their actions?
They can be held accountable for what's done.
If they want to hold us accountable, then they themselves need to be accountable. You can't hold the people accountable for someone else's action. And that's what y'all are trying to do right now.
That's not true at all.
Okay, hang on just a second. Ms. Lillian is our county attorney. Ms. Lillian, would you care to make a statement on this? I know you wasn't prepared to do this.
Yes, I'm Lillian Sells, the county attorney, and this case was handled by our insurance attorneys. And I'm sure that you've read about the facts in the newspaper. That this was a man who was from another state, ended up in Livingston, Tennessee, and he was out here on the street, picked up by the local city police department.
We read the
And,
document,
oh, okay, so you, at least somebody.
the court document.
And,
It's man with special needs, ma'am.
what is your name?
My name's Robert.
I'm sorry, stand up, Robert, so I can see.
My name's
Okay,
Robert.
And where are you from? What community?
I live here in Livingston.
Okay, all right. And are you familiar with the facts of the case that you've seen?
Fairly familiar.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, then you know that you may know or you may not know that the results of the autopsy report was a homicide.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I'm
That's
saying,
one of the
why aren't
things-
these people accountable?
Well, the reason the people in general are accountable because the law in Tennessee says that if there is a debt by the county, if the county is ordered to pay a court case amount, like in this case, I don't remember the number, what was the number?
3.5.
3.5 million.
Our insurance paid 2 million, and then there was 1.3, I think.
1.3.
And,
So the county was sued for more than the city.
Yes.
uh,
The city had a settlement on.
I don't know how much, that was confidential, I don't know how much the city paid.
Supposedly 2 million.
I don't know.
If these people,
Okay, let me continue. The case law in Tennessee says that if the county owes money as a result of a lawsuit, then the county government, which is the county commission here in Overton County, can raise the money from the property tax to pay for that lawsuit. But that's the only thing that money can be used for.
Where's that at? What Tennessee state law?
I don't have it with me, but I can get it to
So,
you.
as of right now, you don't have the current law of which states y'all can do that, even though we should know it.
That would be vital and important that we have a right to know. You're telling us
Exactly.
that's in a law, why can't we see it?
Well, I'll be happy to provide it to you. I
how
don't
do you
have
lose
it.
something if nobody was found guilty?
I'm sorry.
How do you lose something if nobody was found guilty?
It was a settlement.
It was a
Wow.
settlement, and this was
Our
done
insurance-
months ago. Like, this was settled already.
Well, I understand that it's a settlement, but the thing is, those officers that killed a special needs man.
No.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes. No.
The man was special needs.
I'll jump in. Number one, if they killed him, they would have been criminally charged. They were not.
Where's the charge?
They go to the ground. Why did they delete the video? Why did they delete the whole camera? There's a whole
This
camera
was a
footage.
settlement.
And it was deleted.
There was somebody's hand on the
I call order in here. I'm the chair of this court. If it gets out of order, I'll order everybody out. We will have order in here. I call order. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
But you work for us.
Yeah.
I call order. I call order.
And I say you work for us!
Officer, you
This is a public building.
I don't care. I call order to
You
this.
cannot hinder my freedom of speech, sir.
Stephen, honey, can I say something? It is a
Yes, Ms. Lowe.
constitutional right.
If I am holding a meeting and it gets out of order, I can order them out.
That we can talk during a public
Okay,
meeting.
this
And you
is
know
the law.
that.
This is the law. This meeting will take place, and after this committee meets, then it's open to the public. It is not open to the public now. I only am addressing you because
I asked her to.
Barlow asked me to, and I will be happy to provide the law that says that a lawsuit, that a settlement owed by the county, as it is in this case, the property taxes can be paid to pay that judgment. And that money can only be used to pay that judgment. All right, that's the law in Tennessee, and I'll be happy to provide that to you. And after this committee meets, then Mr. Barlow is gonna open up the meeting to allow each of you to address the committee. And he will probably, I don't know, but I think the rules provide that there's like 2 or 3 minutes each that a person, you have to stand, identify yourself, what community you live in, and you can speak to this committee. That's the way it's gonna go.
Trying to get everybody to follow the rules so we can keep it in order.
Well,
I don't want screaming, I don't want shouting, I don't want people talking over each other. I want it to be done right, and that's my job.
I know it is,
To
and
have
that's
it to
why I
go
said
right.
that.
So
Because
that's what
we do have a
all I was saying.
constitutional
You have a
right
constitutional
and
right
a
unless
state
you are out
law
of
right.
order. And if you come out of order, I can ask you to leave. And if you do not leave on your own, that's the reason why a police officer.
Yeah, I understand that stuff.
May I ask something?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Seals, when you have time, could I just please read a copy of that law sometime? If you'll just give it to Steve, I'll come by and pick it up. I'd like to read that law just so I can understand a little bit more,
Thank you very much for being.
if that's
We'd be
okay.
happy to do that. Now, we're gonna proceed with this committee meeting, and then after the committee meeting, if you wanna address this committee, you may do so by standing up, stating your name and where you're from. All right, I'm sorry.
I've got one more thing before I sit down, and I apologize.
Thank you.
But if I understand, y'all are going to be approving this and then opening it up at the very end for everyone else. So we're not going to get a say or any understanding of what is going on why it's getting approved. That's why I'm speaking now.
We're trying to address you right now to explain to you why it's being approved and how it gets approved.
Was it fair that 30% of the landowners in the county, that's all owns land, to pay the bill? That's not fair.
No.
That's wrong. And you know it. Everybody up there knows that. If you don't, you're full of it.
To what you said. Sorry, Joseph Selby, I'm from Allen's. You had mentioned it twice in a row that they could raise property taxes to cover this debt. Now, is it necessary that that money comes from property taxes to pay the debt?
No.
Yes,
That's why.
Why?
that's the only
It
exception.
can't come from wheel tax or sales tax?
No, the property tax, in the state of Tennessee, the property tax is the only tax that the county commission can lower, raise, to pay for things. When it comes to wheel tax, it has to be voted on in a referendum. And it has to be set for certain times. That means it could not be voted on for 2 more years. It has to be.
So it's required to be a property tax levy.
Like right now, the property tax, the wheel tax is what I was talking about. The wheel tax, I'm sorry if I misspoke, the wheel tax, it has to be voted on by a referendum. And that is you can't do that unless you have a county election. Our next county election is in 2 years, and that gets opened up to the public. Right now, you're paying a wheel tax. That wheel tax goes for school building debt. And so if anything added onto that would go towards whatever you design it to go for. So if we say it goes towards one thing, that's all it can go for. You see what I'm saying? But that's only during an election time.
And this is the only one you can fluctuate from the
This is the only one that they can fluctuate to pay for such things. Hang on just a second, please. Please. Let us explain what's going on. If we can continue with explaining where the money has come from, where it is going, maybe some of y'all can understand what's going on, that we're taking money from interest that has been built up to set aside to pay for this, and it would not cause us to raise the taxes to pay for such things. Okay, so we're talking about transferring $1 million from an account that is out of interest earned on the money that we had in the bank. That it's interest, okay? That interest set aside to pay for the payments. That's not raising the 30 cents for that. That is coming out of the interest payment. That's what we're trying to explain right now. So just a second, let's go back and let us talk just a second, and maybe we can get y'all to understand, okay? So,
let me explain something. This is a committee meeting. We'll recommend it. If it passes here, we'll recommend it to the full court like we did last time. This is not a one-stop right here.
It's not a done deal
This is not
today.
a done deal here. We'll have to go through the same process. So this is just a regular business committee meeting that we do, and we sit here and debate between one another, because I've got a lot of questions too. And it's gonna, and I understand Gerald too, on stuff. It's 30% of the population. No, that's not fair. But that's what we're dealt with. There's only 30% that pays property.
You need to make up the difference on some money.
There's no way. That's what the state's handed us.
Maybe the county needs to set their budget a little bit.
Gerald, I mean, really. This ain't been anything, I've done this for 24 years. This is not anything different than, I started out when we started with Ozzie Mitchell. It's the same thing, and it's always been 30% of the population that owns property here that bears the burden, and that's how the state's strapped with us.
Can I address that, please? My name's Johnny Smith. I live in Richmond. You can, this court can, go to Nashville, address the General Assembly. Legally, you should know this, to reroute the wheel tax sticker to pay this. It's fact.
Okay, let me tell you on that one.
You can, it's broke down.
I know, but we're still gonna have to pay that wheel tax money to the school board.
Well, let me ask you this.
Because, hold on just a minute, let me
Yes, sir.
talk to you. There's a wheel tax levy that's on the county that we pay.
Yes.
That has all been pushed towards to the school.
Yes, understand.
Okay, now we're stuck with that. That started in 1976.
It should have been paid for.
73.
Well, anyway, it has, but we've got a maintenance of effort by law that we have to maintain to the school system, just like we do with the library, just like we do with 911. We can't ever drop below that.
I understand that.
But, okay, if we take the wheel tax away, it's gonna have to come from the property tax to go to the schools to replace
Well,
it.
let me ask you this.
I mean, that's not,
Maybe
that's not.
somebody can answer. I have
that's-
several questions, a whole lot of questions I'm probably never gonna get answers to. In 73, they voted in, I was a kid.
Me too.
We voted.
They voted in, they didn't really, the wheel tax sticker for 10 years. Okay? I'm 59, just turned 59.
61.
Okay. Steve just said that it has to go, put back on the ballot.
To raise it.
Then why hasn't it ever been on the ballot?
Pardon?
First time.
It was voted in 73, never been on the ballot since.
Nope. And it's been raised.
It was done in 73.
In 1973, for 10 years.
So we had
For 10 years. Then at the end of that 10 years, as the law states, it should go right back on that ballot again. For the general public to go in there and say, just put a check, put an X, I don't know what they did back then, they may have just stamped it with their fingerprint. But it has
No,
not,
you took a pencil and done it.
but that has not
School debt.
been on that ballot.
It owns their school debt on it.
Their school debt, it's not posted, it should be posted, wheel tax sticker on the ballot, lay here, let the general public walk in, check, yes, I want to pay $50 for a wheel tax sticker, yes, I want to, or no, I don't want to. Then the ballots are counted just like any other election, and there you go.
Let's get back to the business.
Let's get back to the business.
Hey, guys, can we settle, please?
I'm saying,
One question, has the school ever been paid for?
say the fucking code.
Has the school ever been paid for?
Hell no, it's all wrong.
No, I'm saying, has the school ever been paid for?
You got one more payment?
Then high school paid for?
Who paid for that $1 million football field?
Oh, yeah. And then they're doing a building program for 14 years.
They gonna build another school for 14
No,
million?
they're building on fair.
Build on it.
All the schools are here.
Well, there's one question I'd like to ask.
I have
I have some people The county people who work for the county.
Taxes, everybody's talking about raising taxes and raising taxes. But I've not heard one thing about cutting the budget. And for all my life, and I'm old, every time on the news, when the budget comes up to the state, the governor, whoever he is, gets his department heads together and say, okay, you know, you come back with me for 10% cut. Sometimes they come back for 10% or less, but, you know, they have to balance the budget because that's the law. Have you got each department heads together and asked for any kind of cuts?
Oh, yeah, that's what they.
Instead of doing just tax.
What is your name and where are you from?
I'm Sandra Beecham, I'm from Livingston.
All the commission got together to go over the budget. They went together to slice the budget. They went through and seen, what needs to be done, what needs to be taken out, what needed to add. They got together and done that. Any kind of things that they saw that might have been excessive or things in that nature, they went through to meet on that to address that situation.
Where will I find that in this?
Well, that's after they got done slicing it. The meeting we had, was it the 20th? The 12th, the 13th. When the 3 days that we met 2 days. Was it the 10th, 11th, or was it 11th, 12th, 13th? It was right in June. You can I've got all of our meetings on video. It's on Facebook, YouTube, and on our website, overtoncountytn.gov. All right.
10th and 11th and 12th.
10th, 11th, 12th is what we set aside. The 10th,
all the department heads.
all the commission got together. All the department heads meet with the committee, and they come through and they tell the committee, the budget committee, what they need to run their office. There's nothing excessive in here that's saying, hey, we want $1 million to buy paper and stuff with. There's nothing excessive. We're running on bare minimum.
When does the comptroller, I know they come
The comptroller's here about 6 months out of the year. Their office is right next door. They come and they camp out and they stay.
I mean, I know they
The
come.
state comptroller, they're here about 6 months out of the year. They're in our office at all times. They come, they look at every penny, every fraction of a penny that is spent out of our office. And it has to all be justified. If it is not justified, then we have a report that comes out and they draw us in this office and they said, this is what's on the report. Then it goes over to another committee, the audit committee, that addresses that. But yes, the state comptroller is in our office at least 6 months out of the year. They come again in August. They'll be here next month.
Thank you.
And there's a new one this time, so I think there'll be 2 of them.
If I understand you right, you're saying, my name's Debbie Allen and I'm from Hershey County. You're saying that you're gonna take this $1 million and transfer it over to keep from having to raise taxes, right?
As keep from having to raise taxes as high as.
As high, but we're still gonna have a property tax increase.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Give me just a second. We've got to finish our meetings to figure out where we stand and what we got to do.
We're gonna have to delay on this, guys. I mean, we can sit here all night until you let us finish the business. We're not gonna get anywhere fast, but I don't know what's going on, because I've got questions I gotta ask Connie. I know these other guys do. I'm trying to get this budget down bare bones as we can, and you're gonna have to let us sit here and do the business. If not, we'll be here all night asking questions for you. I mean, I can't help it that.
I just have one question about what you're talking about right now, about this.
What's your name, where are you from?
I'm Barbie Roberts, I live right here in Livingston. The $1 million you're talking about transferring over to drop it from over 35% to 19%.
Could you not take more than $1 million out of
We have to have a fund budget, or fund balance in there. So by law, we have to have 3 to 6 months expenditures set aside, because we only take payments from October to February. And so we have to have by law 3 to 6 months of expenditures in the bank.
And that's what you have in there exactly? I mean, there's not
That
even
would give us 3 months, if I'm not mistaken. And we were fixing to go over that here in just a minute.
I don't understand the math here. If the insurance paid $2 million and you're transferring $1 million, that only leaves $0.3 million.
We still have to have some money in the balance. So we can only comfortably transfer $1 million over to cover
You're doing that from interest.
from an interest.
Are you paying this money on that note, or is it just there and sitting there in limbo?
It's sitting there to draw the payments. It will draw interest while it sits there.
How much are the
It's not owed money, it's
The
money
payments are
that's
$162,500. We've already made the first payment, and we have 7 more payments. We got them to agree to an 8-year instead of an all-at-once payment, because we're not allowed to take a loan to pay for that. By law, we cannot take a loan to pay for it. We cannot, the only other thing that we could have done is file bankruptcy.
Let me ask you a question, Tony, on, from my understanding, we had to have an account set up already with $1.3 million in there in case we defaulted.
What it was is we set it up as a liability. So, we took it out of the fund balance, and we set it on the books as a liability. So, that was taken out of the.
Call for where you hear you, please.
We were taking out of the general fund.
Yeah, we can't hear you back here.
She's kind of quiet spoken.
Well, let her
Get a little
speak.
Yeah, probably.
You said that I was asking if it had to be in a separate account. You said,
Okay, so it's not separate. It's not like a, interest bearing account. I think everybody's kind of getting mixed up. It's just set up as a liability, and what happens every year on the books, that $162,500.
it comes out of that. It comes out of that. So we're taking this $1 million and putting it in there. Okay. Earmark for that.
But everybody's just trying to come up with just the amount of that lawsuit. It's the whole budget.
It's schools and everything. You gotta at least get it. Schools.
I speak, please. Madam Chairman, I'll have to go down. First of all, the Overton County Jailhouse, they house state inmates, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
How much do they receive per day per inmate?
$75.
$75.
No, it's 45.
37 is
what we say.
and they can house right at 127 people.
Now, hold on a minute. I'll give everybody else a chance to speak, let me talk.
I'm not sure, I mean.
You can only house so many state, you can only house so many state inmates over per day per.
They took, at COVID, they sent them all out, and then after COVID, they started taking them all back. And so we don't have as many over there now as what we did while I was there.
The only place we're getting any money at, from the jail part is if, another county comes in, needs to house a prisoner, we'll charge them an amount for that. The rest of it is on us, unless we've got some state prisoners, we'll keep them so long, if they're convicted, and before the state can house them, if we're down here, and they're convicted of a crime, we'll house them so long.
We don't know how many we're holding right now, do we?
I don't.
You know, farmer, you don't know.
Yeah, we'd like to have as many as we can, because that helps pay for the jail. If not, we're out dental and everything else on these other folks.
And you said you like one more payment on the county, on the school, right?
That's what she said.
But they took $14 million bond this past year to build on all the schools.
Well, they had to build the extra school.
Okay, and you said that 30% of the population here in Overton County owns property.
That's what I understand.
And so the 30% is paying for the county road commissioner's job, everybody, we pay for the sheriff department.
Well, you got, a lot of money comes for the highway department, comes out of sale of gas tax.
Okay,
And mineral tax, we got mineral severance taxes that we get from, quarries and stuff, and people that's doing rock, we get money from that. It's not a lot. We need a pie chart where you can sit there and show you exactly where it's broken down at, the money coming in. We get a little bit of sales tax. We get, internet sales. We
well, let me ask you this.
Blinker tax.
When the county give the county workers all a raise, when did the county give the county workers all a raise?
We didn't give
A year ago.
Was you the county mayor then? So Ben Danner was the man that give the county workers a raise. I'm gonna stand it up for you, I backed you pretty hard. So I'm gonna stand up for you just a little bit. How was you expecting to keep it coming if it came from, well, I understand it came from a grant? All right, so when that COVID money run out, how are you gonna pick up the payment to keep paying these people? I mean, you can't take the money away from them.
No.
You've gotta keep paying. But who, so whenever I brought up, who was sitting here on this board thought it magically appeared? So that's what I want to know. Why was the raise gave out and not money come in to take care of this? Because these people, they most definitely need a raise, and you can't take the money away from them. Well, just like they said about Wilson County Schools, one of the poorest school systems up there. Last time I was up there, that school needs replaced.
Yep.
Okay. So they talking about the county pool tax sticker. That's the first tax that we got.
Their user fees, your fairest tax. Like I said, income tax, property tax. My opinion's not fair, but that's me on a soapbox.
Because you think about this, if the other 70% of the population here has children, and they go to schools, we educate them,
Yeah.
we pick them up, take them to and for home, and we pay for the teachers' stuff. So, and I've asked questions about this to several people. We talk about the renter's tax. People own property here in Overton County and they're renting property. If you live here and you've got children and you go work here and you use the county roads to get to and from work, why isn't people paying a renter's tax? The ones that don't own property.
I can answer that for you.
Because the landowner's paying the property tax.
Here about 8 or 10 years ago, that same thing came up, and I said, why don't we tax renters, just like we do property owners? And that got turned down, because nobody wanted to do it, because they said, well, if I'm renting from you, and taxes go up and you raise my rent for the tax. And that never did go no further. I was for putting the tax on the renter. But the fire tax, everybody talks about the fire tax, I tried to get a gas tax, a county gas tax. A nickel a gallon put on here a few years ago, everybody griped because old gas too high anyway. Hey, every Tom, Dick, and Harry comes through this town and sticks that nozzle in there, you're gonna pay it. Not just me and you, girl, just Betty, not everybody else is on the property. Everybody puts gas in that tank. And at that time, of course, I'm not in the log business now. I sold out quick back last fall. But it would cost me 10 times more to pay the nickel more a gallon for fuel than it would to have a 50-cent tax increase on my property. But I was all right with that because you was gonna have to pay that nickel when you put it in. When you come through here and stop, you were gonna have to pay that nickel a gallon to the county, so our property tax didn't have to go up so much. But like I said, it's only 30% of us has got property.
If you can average my fuel bill out, 365 days a year when I work, I'm spending right at $70 a day.
Yeah, I know you drive down there, like, I've got neighbors, friends that drive down there every day to work.
But this is the thing.
But that's the fire tax, because everybody, there's no sales tax on, let's talk about sales, there's no sales tax on food stamps. If anybody that uses a food stamp card does not pay sales tax.
Oh, I know, sir. You know why? And when I walk up there and I see somebody that red, that little card right there, got the red flag.
When we go
Me pull out $100 to pay for 3 bags of groceries and walk out,
Yeah.
I feel that.
I know.
Because I'm paying for people on welfare and health row.
But you know, that sales tax is not a fair tax, because everybody don't pay them.
But get back to the wheel tax. As far as the county goes, we got to have money to run schools. It's just a sad thing, but it is. We got to, that's the only free thing that these children are going to get in their life. So a lot of people say, you know, we need to raise it crazy. All right, everybody probably got 2 or 3 old cars or trucks right here. When they start running them down the road, there you go. That's more in. I mean, what is it right now you pay for what I said?
$30, back 50 cents.
30.
But somebody told me here a while back, Tommy Carr, I think was his name, was up here, and he proposed a one-time user fee for the county done.
He did.
Hold on just a second. How much did you say we had to pay per month to take our garbage to Old Tennessee?
It's in between $70,000 and $90,000 a month.
There you go.
We had to pay $1.
There again, that's coming out of the property tax. Everybody uses it.
How much is that gonna end up on the side of the road and over the bank in the creek if we don't, we get charged for it?
Well, I tell you what, we got some boys right around here, we call them registrars, game wardens. And all you gotta do is, when they're out here running down the road, and someone sees them throw a piece out, take their tag number down. Everybody here's got a $500 phone. Take a snapshot of it. Send it in to these people right here, they'll go pick them up, take them right to work the county jailhouse, they'll go right here and pick it up. You do it 2 or 3 times, it's just like the state trooper run right here kicking people on the motorcycle. God, everybody would, but listen, baby, slow down. Do like me, pull over the side of the road.
I got something to add on to that, sir.
We talk about the wheel tax. We talk about wheel tax. You know, the wheel tax, you could go down here to the Rickman Elementary School, during school, I sat there at the bank and done it, and count how many Tupman County tags comes in and out of that school.
Exactly.
Okay, they're either bringing their kids to Overton County, or they're not buying a wheel tax sticker.
Exactly.
That's why we
That's
need to
why a wheel tax sticker is not a fair tax. Me and you got 4 or 5 years, we pay it. But we've got neighbors that don't.
But you're saying we pay $70,000 a month, all regard.
70 to 90, depends on the.
That's a lot of money, folks. That's almost, you might as well figure $1 million right there, you're hauling garbage off.
I paid the garbage thing twice. I paid it $60 per home, $120 for.
You live in the city, don't you?
No, I live out in the country, but when they passed that, it was $60 for my house, $120 for my business. And I paid it like a dummy, I paid it, and they didn't enforce it, but they never give us their money back either.
No.
And that's what I said now, if we need a quick fix, take every mailing address in this county, you pay this amount of money, there's your money. Everybody that has a mailing address.
There you go.
And then they wouldn't bill tax.
Well, you still, but you don't understand. You still got to generate enough revenue to pay the county workers. And I believe I'm right, the county nursing home, that's part of the county, is that part of the county budget too?
Well, they have their own budget over there.
They don't give them a raise.
At the nursing home.
But you said,
If they default on their loans, then the county's liable.
They got a raise.
so, but anyhow, get back, I'm calling that, you can back you pretty hard, but been down the road better give people raises when there was no money coming in. And board, they should have stood up and said, hey, this ain't Lucky Charms. It don't magically appear. So,
I got one thing on that, just so you know that the committees are changed up like every year. They might be some of the same ones on the same committees, but they're usually changed up every year.
I changed committees around.
Just not the same
I try
ones every
to
year.
give everybody an opportunity to learn a committee where I don't keep the same committee all the time. It's not that necessarily everybody on this committee is the one that done it. But the whole commission had to vote on that. You are correct.
The commissioners all has to vote on it,
All
no matter what's on that budget, no matter who's on this committee, it comes.
But you are right, I wasn't here and Patrick McCurdy wasn't here either. We both had that same question of how we gonna pay for this after the bonus was gone. And we're gonna have to pay for it now.
All right, let's
We gotta get back to business. We'll get back to you in just a minute, sir, okay? We haven't gotten anywhere. And we haven't been here.
It's pretty important.
Yes, ma'am, yes, sir.
My question is for Judge Lillian. Judge, you're familiar with Trousdale County government, I'm sure. What can we do as citizens here to abolish Overton County government and Livingston City government and go for a metropolitan?
Well, it's done by referendum. If a county and a city wants to, like, for example, Metro Nashville, a city and a county can join up and just be one entity. And some places, like Hartsville, feels very strongly that they save a lot of money by doing that. And Overton County, of course, and many other counties in Tennessee have chosen not to do that. But the people decide in a referendum.
Okay.
That's how.
Thank you.
I think right now, only Trousdale and Davidson County is only two metro governments in the whole state.
I think Shelby is Shelby.
Shelby County is. Memphis is.
Williamson.
Yeah, Memphis.
And Moore County, little tiny Moore County, along with Trousdale, is also a charter.
It's where they are so small.
Yeah, they are very small.
The county is so small. What was that, Moore County and Trousdale? The county is so small, the population is so small that they chose to make them one government. But that would have to also be approved by the general section in Nashville as well.
Yeah, the general.
For permission to even offer it. All right. Can you explain the three columns? Let's get back to the.
Okay, on page 7, is what we're looking at, the 3 columns. We had initially had it right now that rate to be 2.6708. So we went to court, supposed to work on it, come back, give us another solution. This is the solution that we have. So if by putting that $1 million out of the debt service fund into, how you see the breakdown in the first column, what that would do. What that would do is be leaving the fund balance, at the end of next year, we would have about 5.5 in the fund balance. Do you see that there?
Would that make us to the 3-month expenditures that we were required?
Yes.
Right now, are we meeting that 3 months?
Yes, it has to be at least 4.7.
It has to be 4.7.
So the fund balance would be $5,509,716.
Yeah.
$716.
Yeah.
And their tax rate's that would be 235?
Yes.
Okay, is that, if we do that, is that property in there?
The property tax.
No, I'm talking about you take out the property, was that taken out?
Lillian,
Cause that was 10, that'd be 10 pennies.
I think there's some legal issues about the property. He's talking about the property at Tractor Supply.
The property is where?
Tractor Supply, the health department.
Oh, what is your question?
I said, I wouldn't know if that 400 and some thousand was in there for the extra property, we didn't pass the minutes on it the other night. If I wouldn't know if that was in there.
We could get out of, account was going to replace it with, what was that, grant?
But we're still buying the property.
That's what we have to figure out whether we can do it.
Well, what, I don't know, I sent out a memo today that the committee, or the special call meeting voted to buy. That was what happened on the special call meeting. And at the last regular meeting, when it came down to approving the minutes from the special meetings, this county commission voted no on not approving the minutes. But they can't do that. If you're going to make a motion that the minutes are incorrect, then you've got to tell the commission why they are incorrect. Now, I think there's some talk, or some people on the commission that believe that it needs to be rescinded. But if that's to be done, that's a totally.
We'll have to do that next.
That'd be a totally different issue in the motion. But since.
But we're not obligated to that yet, are we?
We signed
Yes, you are.
after we passed it on court.
Yeah, that shouldn't have happened.
It passed through, that special call meeting passed, it 9 votes to 2 votes no. There was 12 people here, 1 left. That was 11 people voting. There was 3 absent. It passed through court. We signed a letter of intent with a contingency as if it did not appraise, that we were not liable for it.
Is that not premature?
Well,
Sign a letter of
I think it
intent.
probably was, but. Yeah. There's a video that there's.
So we're stuck with this piece of property that we have no use for right
It
now?
passed through court.
I know what you're telling me.
When you met to approve the minutes, you were meeting to approve the minutes of the meeting.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, you and Lee Richards both were not
I wasn't here.
And Lee Richards called me a crook for a meeting without him being there, which I was not.
No, let's not get into personal.
But I'm just saying, it passed 9-2.
I understand
And
that.
so we've been working with them for a long time, and at first we had 30 to 60 days. We signed a letter of intent saying it passed through court. If everything passes, then that was our intent because it passed.
You shouldn't have signed that till they would pass through the full legend. I mean, really,
It passed through the full.
Did you get authorization on this?
I had talked to Miss Lillian in private and asked her if it was okay, everything was fine. She said everything was fine. Now, I didn't have her contract.
We're the last. You can't spend money, Stephen. You cannot spend money without the full court voting on it.
Well, full court.
They did vote on it.
That's a special call.
And that was done under the last, all that come up under the last administration anyway, it wasn't under Stephen. That's been going on for 5 years, Bill, you helped.
Well, actually, I know we need to move that department around, but that's 10 pennies right here, and that's property.
You think that man's gonna sell us the heart out of that property down there for half of what he wants for all of it?
I'm gonna say there's probably other places we can go to.
Was that not paid for with a grant?
That was paid for, the 5 acres was paid for, but the extra property we got's not.
What was we taking it out of? We were taking it out of the fund, the debt service.
But the price he gave us was for the whole thing, not just the prime 5 acres right there in the middle of it. You sit back there and throw your head all you want to, I don't care. If it was yours, you wouldn't take half what it was, and I wouldn't either.
That's $70,000.
That extra property for county.
Well, that over here on our Fort Road off of 111 was a whole lot more than that.
But you had a question about commercial property. You can't build a business on residential. There's commercial, residential.
Yeah, I know that, but you've got, my whole thing is, we could buy the property if we had a use for it.
We can earmark it for.
What will you earmark it for?
Well, there's gonna be a time and place.
Yeah, but we're buying surplus property out here, Steve. Right now, we're buying surplus property that we have no, this is why these folks are mad.
Exactly.
Amen.
Besides, there was several of us that rescinded our vote on that.
You wasn't allowed to, that was illegal. You could not do that during that meeting, Sam.
Would it also be illegal to talk to someone one-on-one about the same thing? I mean, that would be the situation, isn't it, sir?
You talking about the commissioners talking how they're gonna vote on it?
No, sir. When you talk and pull one person off to the side, right, and initially push the whole issue out, like you just stated you did.
I don't understand what you're saying.
You talked to Ms. Sales, sir.
You just said you talked to her.
I asked her,
Did you talk to her privately, is what you said?
right, I'm allowed to talk to our county attorney and ask her if things were okay. Whenever it passed through, whenever we had that meeting, 9-2, that means it passed.
But what I'm getting at, sir, and I understand what you're saying there, but the way you just said it a while ago is you initially ran everything by her first before putting it out to the commission.
To see if it was legal to do.
Well, she has to go through the attorney first, he done the right.
I'm the attorney for the county commission.
I understand that, ma'am.
And by
I'm
state
just
law,
saying
And that's very.
how he made it sound.
by state law, I am actually allowed to talk to any commissioner, any one of them, about any kind of business. Now, they can come to me about anything and ask me questions. That is absolutely legal. It's passed by state legislation that the county executive, county mayor can talk to the commission about any kind of business. Not a lot come to my office, but I'm allowed to do it. Now, they are not allowed to talk to each other and discuss how they're gonna vote and things like that. That is against the Sunshine Law, which Ms. Lillian is actually gonna bring up.
You can only, and you keep confusing that. Stephen, it's only, we don't get out here, you get two people out here talking about
You can
bass
talk-
fishing.
But you can't talk
But
about
you've called us crooks 2 times, Stephen, in public meetings, saying that it's underhanded dealing. No, and you have, and I haven't said anything to you about it, but you called us that, and we've not done anything dishonest.
Let me ask you a question. Anybody call you and ask you how you was gonna vote on that last tax levy?
No, they did not.
Anybody call any of the other ones? Any of the
See, here you go again. You're
Will
making-
any of the commissioners freely say and raise their hand if somebody asked them how they were gonna vote? Now, if somebody's put on the spot, everybody's gonna say no, but I actually had a commissioner call and apologize because somebody called them and asked them which way they were gonna vote, and he apologized to me, and I will not name names, but I know things go on, and it's been going on
Here
for
we go
years.
again, Stephen, I'm tired of
Just
this.
wait just a minute.
I've listened to this.
Just wait just a minute. It's been going on this way for years, and all I ask.
Well, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Ain't that what you told us about to me?
And I want to apologize on that one, that wasn't.
Well, I say that is offensive, because I don't do dope. Do you?
I mean, I won't apologize for that comment. I know Pete took me out of context, but it was just.
We took it the way you gave it to
That's
us.
how I talk. I apologize on
Well,
that.
did we end up buying that 18 acres or not?
There's 12 acres, and let me kind of explain to the public what this all is. We have a grant coming down from the state for a new health department. This started right when I come into office, it's time to find land, okay? This had been started right before I got in here.
So this started with Ben Dan.
It started with Ben Danner of talking about gonna build a new one and things like that. But whenever I took office, it was, we need to find a piece of property. And so I did, and I brought everybody in and explained this. I wrote a piece and put in the paper to explain the reason why we had this special call meeting. We took the objective, and I'm talking about the state health department was here, the local health department was here, the engineers were here. We did a site study about surrounding land. We went on site of several different pieces of property to look. And if you go around the city of Livingston, there's not a lot of land left that you could purchase, that you don't have to build up out of the flood zone. And we only had a $432,000 match to get right at $6.7 million to go towards a brand spanking new health department for our community and our citizens. That is a once in a lifetime deal. That, I mean, if we go, we can turn it down, but it won't ever come again. Okay, so my job was to help find a piece of property. And so we had a site study, we looked at several different areas, all over this area. It needed to be easable access to people. It needed to be visible, so where it was easy to get to off of a main highway or something like that, so people knew where it was. We looked at a piece of property off of the bypass, kind of across from the vocational school.
Okay.
There, between Mid-State and Airport Road. We looked at that. And so at first, they came in with a ridiculous offer. And if anybody's here that owns that land, I'm sorry, but they came in with a ridiculous offer, like $140,000 an acre. Okay, they needed a minimum of 5 acres for this health department. And so we looked at a corner and found 5 acres they agreed to do for a little less. And it had a house on it, but the back end of the property had to be built up so much it would cost almost $1 million to build it up to get it level and flush. And then there was the state right-of-way that took half the land away from you to begin with. And so that became unfeasible. We went up the bypass, looked at several different other options. Hang on just a second, please. Looked at several different other options. We looked at John Mark Wendell's property. We looked at another piece of property across from the First Baptist Church, the Free Will Baptist Church there.
Yeah.
But it's a flood zone. It would have to be built up, and there again, that's a lot more money. And so we looked at several different pieces of property before we went up and found the piece of property up, and he wanted to sell a whole. And that whole 12 acres costs less than any piece of property that we looked at on the bypass. But we can earmark that 5 or 5.5 acres towards getting the new, that we have to pay the grant for. So we get the rest of the land to use for future. And what I proposed, that our senior center down here is getting aged. It's small, tiny. I'd like to open it up. If maybe one day we could build either a senior center or we're outgrowing our ambulance service, just earmark it, because they're not making any more property in Livingston, and they're all disappearing, and it all keeps getting higher and higher and higher. But one day we could use that towards something for the county property. That is the reason why I proposed that. But another reason why is because it didn't need as much. They've already done half of the land for the left side, but we have to spend $432. The other part that went was for the rest of the 7 acres. There was 12.25 acres. And it has to be appraised for what is spent. It ain't nobody putting anybody's money in pockets. I know that was said. You're talking about, the state is involved in this. They were involved in picking out said land. The health department has to be involved of the location. It's up on the hill where everybody can see it. It's easy access to get in and out. Everybody fell in love with it. Now, like I said, we can earmark that extra piece, that's fine. Whatever needs to be done, but he wants to sell it in a whole. If you bought just half of it, it would mess up the whole 12.5 acres, or 12.25 acres. But that's the reason why I said.
So we're legally bound to it right now.
Right now?
Right now, we're legally bound to the.
Yep.
Right?
Well, I told Stephen today, I didn't know that the contract had been signed, so today I looked at it just very briefly, and it appears that, you know, if we breach it, it'll depend, there's a contingency. That if it doesn't, it's not evaluated by the assessor as much as we're paying for it, then we don't have to. So that's what.
Yeah, I understand that, but we put the cart for the horse on this one, Stephen.
Whenever I got,
You know,
the approval that it was done.
You've got to learn that you can't obligate the county, you can't obligate the county without the full court.
It had the full court's approval. That's the reason why the piece of paper was signed. And I'm sorry that you don't like it, and you've been fighting it ever since we started, but.
You want me to tell you why I don't like it?
Please.
I don't feel that we need to buy property, surplus property that we don't have air tag for.
Trying to raise taxes on everybody else.
We've got so much money laying around, let's just buy some more.
It's not this is not a good time.
Why not just fix the old health center?
That's what
We would lose, that decision would have been a long time ago. If we decide not to do anything now, we would lose everything.
Let's go on to the next one.
Here's a quick question for you. I know you're saying that we've got to have 5 acres and whatnot. Why don't we get like a mini Walmart or something built over there? That way, all of our towns and surrounding counties, or county, excuse me, can actually go there and shop instead of running out to Allgood or Cookville or whatever. It'll bring more revenue in for us all.
Okay, so.
And more jobs.
This is in the budget. This is in the budget.
the whole health department works on
There's so many people talking. We would take ownership of the old.
Okay, how much dollar?
Maybe 800,000 to $1 million. We can absolutely, whenever they build it.
That way it justifies
You could.
us not having to raise much property tax.
But you're talking, they're going to start building a couple years from now.
Yeah,
But you can absolutely sell that.
Pay the interest on the rest of it and forget it.
Yeah.
Do that.
You can absolutely earmark it to sell. We could do something there. You're right.
I mean, that's what we need to do.
We would take ownership back over of the old health department once they move out.
What are they gonna do with it? The old health department?
We haven't made that decision yet.
So
It would come back to the county.
How much more stuff we got laying around?
We get the old one back once they get into the new one, so we would have that building to use as well.
Let me ask you something.
Please.
When you put this, try to put this tax on, like Kim's trying to put on, is it gonna be rescinded after your debt's paid?
No.
You're gonna leave it on us, right?
Yes.
The state comes in next year.
Well, I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about the tax judge are gonna put on us, I'm not talking about the state.
Well, see, this is not, Gerald, and this is nothing personal. I do not want to raise taxes at all. I do not. No, I do not. I don't want to. But when you get into books and you look and you see we have to, it's a.
Are you gonna rescind this tax over when your debt's paid over for that murder of the jail? That's what I'm asking. That's all you gotta say, yes or no.
Well, see, that million that's going over.
Exactly.
It's coming over to pay that instead of raising the 30 cents out of that $1 million.
But we're still getting a property tax increase, you said.
For the rest of this is not just for, I'm sorry. There's too many people talking and asking questions. This tax raise is not just for the lawsuit at the jail. This is not just for, this is talking about the equipment, this is talking about the cost of living rates, all this in here has got to do running offices, general debt services, the school, the highway, the solid waste, all this stuff together.
But what about people that don't build fixed income like I'm fixing? I work every day, now I'm supposed to be retired, I work in the woods every day, okay? What about people like it right there? Is this right here going to stay on them too? See, that's not right.
There is assistance at Peggy Clark's office. You can go down there and talk to Miss Peggy.
No, they several people
She'll get you
in the same boat.
It's $100-something, it ain't worth going down there for.
There you go.
Well, I mean, that's $100-something. $100-something is good there.
It's not as much you.
I don't think you're old enough, are you, Gerald?
Well, just see the example.
I pay over $2,000 a year now.
Let me give you an example in just a second. Let us get back to this and then we'll take questions in a minute, okay? Hang on just a second. Let's get back to this. We're still on the first
You
part.
didn't answer my question, though. Are you gonna rescind this when it's paid?
No.
This right here that's coming it's not earmarked for just the lawsuits. We're gonna have to continue to pay those raises. We're gonna have to continue to pay the cost.
Hey, people, what they do, you don't pay them just, give me $3 just cause I'm Joe Blow, that's bullshit. Let me tell you something. If you don't do a good job for county, fire but
I do.
Well, that's what I do.
I have.
And I can tell you something, if you can't do the work, you can't do it, you're out.
Absolutely.
That's free money across the table, that's bullshit.
Gerald, I'm gonna tell you this. If you don't do the job I hire you for, I don't need you. You can ask the lady sitting beside of me, she works in my office. If I see that you're not working, I'll come to you and I'll ask you to work. If you don't work, I don't need you. And I'll find somebody that is willing to work and wants to work. And I have. Gerald, I'll tell
I
you.
worked my whole life, and I'm gonna tell you something, it ain't right to do people like this right here because of the mess you got over here today. John's a friend of mine, but you know what? He's got some help over there, just don't need it.
That's right. I cannot tell an elected official how to run their office. They can't hire them.
They're constitutional offices. They're independent on that. If we didn't, on some of these budgets, if we didn't put in there what they requested, by law, they can come back and sue us for it, and more than likely.
Look here, okay, what about this deal happened with Rick Beatty several years ago, okay? It's not got a thing to do with what's going on right now, okay? The deputies over like to beat him to death, knocked all his teeth out. Well, they said them the thing. What about these other boys killed us? Well, they ain't done nothing to them.
Gerald, we watched the film, we talked to them, they were trying to save the guy.
There's one tape that nobody saw, because they got rid of it first.
I didn't say that.
Well, why can't we see the whole film?
Yeah, it's not you, they don't have it.
Because they deleted
Jeffrey
I got it.
But anyway, we'd assume the same liability if somebody died over at the nursing home, where it's a county-owned nursing home. If somebody got ran over with a piece of equipment out here on the highway, and we were at fault, we would end up, it's no, the jail is no different
You should have,
than the help that,
you should have insurance, you should have an umbrella on your insurance to take care of crap like this. They're not passing on the people. That's a bunch of
We
bull.
had a $2 million.
Why does the county only have a $2 million policy in the first?
Right. Look here.
I've got 4 businesses.
My
that
firm, you're
$200,000
$2 million.
Hang on, guys.
Each one of them has a $3 million liability policy. That's $200,000 business. This is a county.
And look here, to have a dump truck or a road truck, you gotta have a $2 million insurance policy, umbrella, plus the umbrella.
Our local government out of the state recommends what we are to have. It used to be $1 million, am I not correct on that? What was it? We made it at $2 million for a while. I thought it used to be $1 million.
Who's it with?
It's with local government insurance board. It's through the state, local government. But they recommend what we are to have. We have not had a lawsuit to us in that I know of, that $2 million up into this one, that I know of. But
we can look at doing an increase in the future.
After this, we have absolutely looked at it.
These are you, man.
But with taking this million out of, there's none of this tax raise going to pay that lawsuit. That million will sit in there and grow enough interest to pay all of it. This is going just to run the county and give the employees a cost of living raise.
Yeah, but when this all started,
It's still on us, though.
it was to pay for the lawsuit at the jail. That's what all of it said. We got to pay this lawsuit at the jail. And then it come across about the raises, you know.
That's the reason for the million.
Whose idea was it to do such a high interest, to raise the interest that high? Was it y'all? Was it you? Was it Niven? Was it?
Well,
who voted for this?
we were sitting here in a salary meeting, commissioners back here, Patrick, and we were talking about how much we were gonna have to raise the tax. And then him was talking about 35, 40 cents should cut it. Maybe, you know, to start with, to work. And then the 70 cents came, well, actually 73 cents. You can go back and watch, you can go back and watch the tape.
Who said that?
Well, you can go back and watch the tape.
Darwin. Who said Was it Darwin Clark? You can't hear on those videos. I watched every one of them, put them on my computer, did everything. You cannot hear half of y'all saying nothing.
But
if it was Darwin Clark, tell us.
Well, I can always say it wasn't me.
Mr. Walker, do you know who it was?
Wasn't me. I'm not on the salary committee.
Nivens, do you know who did it?
Tell your story, what you want it to be. Clear it up.
After this rate, after this their tax increase comes up, you're gonna have to pass.
I don't know yet.
The state's gonna come in.
Could.
Okay, no, I'm saying, is the state gonna come in and raise taxes again?
We don't know.
No, we will have a property reappraisal next year.
And that's
They're
about.
doing it now.
That's about.
They're doing it now.
Yeah, next year.
They've done been to my neighbor's house, mine, and my son.
They have to do it, they do 25% of it, from what I understand, every year. They have to do that, that just puts care of.
So they don't do it all at once.
But next year's the reappraisal for, state reappraisal for all of it. I think we passed it, we've done this before, we passed, when the tax rate come in, we left it at the same rate, we didn't, and if we can, that's what we'll do, won't we, Steve? Try to lower it if we can stay right there where it's at. Yeah, it was lower because it was like 225 at one time. We dropped it down to 197.
Yeah, I know that.
So
That's
what we wanted to try to do.
So the 197 comes from the state.
You'll have to understand, these budgets are year by year. And life happens, folks. Life happens. It'll just look like what happened. And like I told you before, we try not, this has always been a bare bone budget. We have no rainy day funds. And like I said, unfortunately, the rainy day funds is us. And it should be that way, because you shouldn't, just like you're paying your taxes, your income taxes, if you're paying too much and wait to get money back at the end of the year, you've not done things right. You shouldn't get anything back, and the government shouldn't hold anything. That's the same way we try to run this here. And
We don't want to have excess of money, so like saying, and bragging like the state does, we got all this excess money, we're going to hand it right back out to you. Let me tell you about sales tax. They take, it's 9.5%, they take 7%. And then we're left with 2.5. The schools get half of that, and then we're left with 1.25, right? And we have to split that 1.25 with solid waste. And so we don't make a lot of money off of sales tax. We only get half of that 1.25 to go towards any general fund here. So, and we don't get anything out of the city. We don't get anything that operates out of the county. So that sales tax, we do get some revenue, but not a whole lot.
Well, let me ask you this. Who gets the money for the state inmates?
The jail.
So, what
It goes to the general fund.
so that's 30, so they get $34 a day, is what you're saying? 37, so what is that? $370 every 10 days, $3,700 every 10 months. Close to $5,000 a year.
It's nowhere near as much as it costs to keep somebody, but it's
That's why we do it. For the liability.
coming in.
Liability.
well, the thing about it, the thing about it, we do get that money paid, but the state, if they get sick or something, the state pays for their medicals, all the medical. And we get somebody from the county that houses a prisoner with us for the same rate. I don't know what rate we're charging on them. Anyway, for the same rate, or close to the same rate, they're required to pay the medical in that county.
So let me get this straight. So the state comes in every year to raise your property taxes.
Well, no, not every year.
Every
Every 5. You can be at every 4, 5, or 6, and we are at 5.
Okay,
They tried to change it to 2, 3, and 4, but that failed. So every 5 years, the state comes in, and I'll kind of explain this to you a little bit, Jeff. So businesses has to pay taxes on their business and on the contents, their equipment, the things that they have on the inside. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. So they had a lobbyist to go and fight for them, and one, that it ain't fair for the property owner, every 5 years, the value of their house is gonna go up in 5 years, that they're only paying that, say if it's year number 4, they're still down here paying 25%, all that we pay on. So if your house is worth $100,000, you're actually paying on $25,000, the percentage, because they only do a quarter of what the value of your house. But anyway, they said it's not fair that we have to pay 100% all the time, and they only paying the full value of their property, and they knew that. And so that's the reason why they have to do a quarter of the county every year to try to keep everybody as up to date as possible. And then the state comes in and 100% everybody every 5 years. So if you're down here, say like they done mine and they got my house worth $100,000 or a little over $100,000 more than what I paid for it now. And so it's up here in 5 years. Everything's gonna be leveled out across the board. Everybody's gonna be 100%. So they go and try to, that way it ain't such a big bang every 5 years. They try to do a little at a time to get everybody up, so when the state comes in, it ain't such a hard hit. And if the state comes in next year and say, hey, we recommend that you can go down to 2 1/4, then that's up to the committee. I don't have a vote in it. The commission is the one that sets your tax rate. They vote on the budget. I just oversee the budget.
So if they raise your property tax, the state, except they raise another 5%, and doesn't go right on top of what you're supposed to.
Yeah, that would be what the state recommends.
So if you raise it 20, and we get 5, so that's 25%. And if you go 35, they ask 5, I think 40%.
Yeah, that would be what they recommend. It would be up to the commission actually to set that. But what we had talked about, whatever the committee decides to do, if they decide to throw this out, we're going to call the state to come in to assist, because we have to get this done by August. If we don't get this done by August, they can step in anyway. And so what we're trying to do is all come together and try to work out a solution tonight, so that we can get something to present to the full court that we feel comfortable, that's fair to everybody. Because this is everybody that has to do this. And I understand nobody wants to pay taxes. I don't want to pay taxes.
It's the 30% of people who get it on the property.
We had looked at doing a tax on like electrical, like if you've got electric meter or something like that, doing something like that way. The renters got it, every house has got it. But it's got to be approved by the state, it's got to be approved by the electric company, even let us do that. But that's called like a meter tax or something like that. You see what I'm saying? That way it gets every single person. But then, is it gonna be $10 a month or $20 a month? I don't know exactly how that would work out. That was an idea that I had, but everything's got to be approved. Right now, we get so much money per person and population from the state that comes in to try to help. Hang on just a second, man, please.
Okay, I just need to stand up.
Oh, okay, I thought, I'm sorry. So we're getting a special census to come in, to reevaluate, to see what our population truly is, because when they done the census, it was done during COVID. And we're right there on that line to be able to receive a little bit more money from the state.
Okay, let me ask you this. According to the way I'm hearing people talk down here, they say the more people moves in, the more money the sheriff gets, the more money that you'll make, the more money that everybody on that side of the building, everybody on this side of the building makes. So the more people comes in, he just regulates more money for them. It takes me over 2 years of my life to make what John Carrick makes 1 year. I make about $65,000 a year. John John Garrett makes over 100,000 a year. It takes 2 years of my life to make what he makes. And you work on it. And I work on it. Right now, I got 6 discs in my body. I pass out on the job to pick me up, stand me up, take me to the hospital, or whatever I need to be done. You know, I'm losing motion in my arm and stuff, and I'm still working every day. The doctor said I was laid brick, I was laid rock, and I'm still getting up going there. And this is the sad part of it is, I've got to work to pay the taxes, to pay for my farm. That people, that I feel like they're trying to take away from me, a little by little.
Yeah.
I mean, if I have to pay, I think it was like $160 a month. Taxes just to live on my own place that I've worked my whole life to have. I'll always have to pay rent the day I die.
You never own a piece of property.
Something you never own.
I have a question. Just 1 second. If we've got 8 years to pay this lawsuit that I understand, why do we have to raise the taxes so much now? Why can't that be spread out or come up, like you said, putting stuff on for us to vote on in 2 years? Well, why don't we wait those 2 years to vote on something? Why does it all have to be done now? It's my question. I don't understand that part. You can get me to understand that.
I think she's tried to explain this several times. She's taken $1 million out of interest money out of the fund and put it in a fund. So the taxes that is proposed here tonight does not include that lawsuit in that. It's now down from most of you've got a paper. If you look at the paper, it's down from the 2.6708 to 2.3564. And that, if I'm understanding, I'm trying to understand it too, I'm sorry, but if I'm understanding this right, most of that is for these $3 raises that y'all want to do, right?
A little bit more than that.
Why do they need a raise now?
You don't understand, he's a county road worker, the people out here who are trying to keep the roads up for us so we go to work. That's
What road work?
we still got the.
I also don't understand why it all has to be grouped together. Why we have to group raises together, why we have to group taxes together, why does all of that have to be grouped into one? The other night over there, the raises come up before the taxes did. So we were gonna vote in raises before we voted on taxes to go up. I don't understand that. I don't understand how, I don't spend money that I don't have.
They bundle it all together.
We haven't given raises.
So-
We haven't given raises.
No, we
I haven't
voted
given
that
you
down.
like the $3 raise.
We voted that down, or y'all voted that down in the last meeting.
Yes.
But it come up before the taxes came up, before the sales taxes come up, or the property taxes came up. And I didn't understand how we was gonna vote on, yes, we will give this $3 raise, but then down here, we almost had to raise taxes in order to pay for that $3 till somebody else brought up, we can't vote on that. I didn't understand that part.
So you have to approve the salaries before the budget can know how much it has to have to have those, pay for those.
Okay.
That's the reason why they couldn't vote on the budget, because the salary was voted down. What we have proposed tonight is the $3 raises, and it would actually not allow, or not have to raise the taxes as much as what we was gonna have to have. I will explain what pennies go where in just a second. Wait a second. Hang on just a second. If we get into this, we'll see a little bit more of the breakdown. We still have that much to go over, and we're still on the first page.
But you're doing the raise if we're on here. They should have been able to put on a ballot to put it on a will tax for that raise. So it affects everybody in the county, not the property tax, only the property owner.
On the raises?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody in the county uses it.
We don't want for a raise.
You own property in the county. If I don't own property in the county, do you want to give me that raise out of your pocket?
No.
If I'm not paying taxes on property in the county, why should that raise to individuals who don't even pay property tax be coming out of people's pocket paying taxes. That's almost like Benedict Arnold.
I'm not picking up what you're throwing there.
You got an individual that's collecting, working for the county,
Okay.
that is fixing to get a $3 raise from the property owners who don't even own property, paying taxes itself on property tax.
That don't own property?
I'm saying, if you've got an individual that works for the county that don't own property in the county, they're fixing to collect a raise off of property owners while they're not even paying a property tax.
That's right.
Why does that individual deserve it out of a property tax?
And
Put it on a wheel tax, so every individual in the county.
What everybody's trying to tell you, we need a wheel tax sticker, to cover this right here.
Hey, your idea of the meter is better than property tax. I know we can't get it right now. Why can we not do a progressive assessment? Leave the $3 raise out, give them $1 this year.
Yeah.
Percentage.
Why do we have to do $3?
Because we can't hire people because of our pay. We're half staff at our places.
Why was the budget not addressed last year? Why was it passed? Was it passed negative last year?
I asked for it last year.
Was it passed in a negative last year?
It was turned down last year.
No, I'm saying was the budget passed as a negative last year? Were we even, or were we in a negative last year when the budget was passed?
We was in a negative.
How did we pass a budget negative? See, right there's where the issue arises. You've got 2, 3, 4 years built up on one now.
Yep.
Whose fault's that?
Well, you'd still have to raise, that's, you're just causing us to raise taxes.
How am I causing you to raise taxes? If you'd raised it 5% last year, you would gain 5% last year, not 10%
But
this
you
year.
would still raise taxes on
5%. Anybody in this room have a problem with 5% tax raise?
No.
No.
What we got a problem with is 35 or more.
Right now, you're figuring on 18%.
Even still, that's ridiculous.
What's the total property tax the county brings in a year on the budget?
The total property tax. What's the total property tax?
What did we get last year? What did we bring in last year? After the 18%? So 2.35 million, 20 So you take 18% off of that, that's gonna tell you where it was. Pretty simple. I understand, but if we'd done 5% raise 2 years ago.
If it wouldn't have been 10 years ago since we raised taxes, it wouldn't have had to be as high.
Well, the problem was it was dropped. The assessment being dropped it because the county raised the assessment, or the state raised the assessment. So it's the same money brought in.
We're gonna have to get back to business. I'm sorry, but I'm cutting all questions off until we get done, okay? Let's get back to the business so that we can move forward. We've been here an hour and a half, we're still on the first roll. All right. That's what people, don't worry about it, we gotta get through this. Okay. We're the people that fire you. That's what we do. We employ you, we're your employer. We're obeying safe. All right.
That's about everyone's feet right here, that's stand there for 10 minutes.
Mr. Milton asked the question on how much money do you get for state prisoners or whatever. This is what I want to ask. We have to house the prisoners that the city of Livingston pick up because they don't have a jail. Do we get any money from the city of Livingston for housing their prisoners, or is it just?
Part of our county.
They pay taxes too.
Yeah. They're part of our
They
county.
pay, District 1 pays. They pay the county tax, plus they're fixing to get hit with a $1.09 increase.
Well, see, the reason I asked that is because the city law was one that picked up the hardest for it and took him over there. So that's why I wanted to know that.
Yeah.
You know.
The city still pays county taxes as well. And so, that's the reason why county still has jurisdiction inside the city. Back, yes, ma'am, please.
So on page 11, The other concern is that the law, people want to see, what to do with well, this is the last week.
Three, six, seven, 2, 5, 1, 6. We're proposing 2, 3, 5.
And it's done, it's over with the schools. And with how, it'll be the 1.69 is what we're going to which is equivalent to 70,464.
She has pneumonia, so she's not quite right.
Well, we need a mic up there.
She's trying. She has pneumonia, so bear with her just a little.
On these, I didn't make any changes, I just changed the thing on the back. So there's no change in
Page 9, right?
no changes.
Page 9, no changes on that.
So, in, go to the general fund on page 12, on the far right corner, you'll see the current property tax, I just moved that 7,468. You go to school service, you'll see how that affects the fund balance.
Did you say 32?
And so, the only changes that I'm making is the library, those, part-time rates, the library, change the revenues to full-time. And then I cut back the 3 positions at the end of it because they were the additional ones. If they were 4, it was 3 existing. So they have 162,000. So that would be. And also check out the assistant director position.
338, the maintenance and repair service vehicle. It's actually 338. I don't think so. I just say that it's small. Yeah, okay. Okay, I just made sure. I just thought that was awful small for me.
Page 7.
You all right?
The book that's being added, that is 42 verbal. So,
It's already.
yeah, but my question is, there's bookkeepers in some of these other departments that don't even make that amount, so how is that? The bookkeeper you're at.
My bookkeeper position.
It's 42.
That's Jim, right?
But I thought you said you can vote
You can only work so many days. 120. I'm trying to drop social security, so he's on CCRS. CCRS, you can't only work for me. If he goes like the message work all the hours he wants, but if he works at another position that's not in this, he can only work 150 if he went to the gas station down there, same thing. No. It's just with the county. For the government.
Or any other place that does business.
If you draw PCRS, they limit you for a year, and you got to get reapproved.
that was what I was asking, because there was a good people over here. That was 37,164. So the number of years that person has
Is there any areas that's all that actually basically we can show you what happened here versus what we're going to do in this service fund, because that's where the changes are coming from. We were only going to show you two, but I didn't have any more questions for the general fund. That's what we were. And then for the next few funds in the court hospital. Yeah.
Is that what we're required to have?
No, that's what we had, and that was what the auditor number showed. Yeah, the first column.
This is what we
Project. Mhm. And then this is what we did on the last week.
Okay, so we're 500,000. So it's all the same.
So if you look at this, like, it's still not equal revenues and what's required now is 4.7. 4.7. And I found out because that was our 3 months of expenditures. No changes on
Page 40.
Is the balance of the this year. We've got the other deposit, the water project. There's the match. And also,
They turned down the building, they decided they were gonna buy it. The people that bought the building in Monroe, the Monroe Community Center. Yeah. They, we give them 3 extra weeks to get it. And then they finally just said they can't move it.
what is but it was
What would it take us to,
that's what I was thinking.
what would it take us to get, maybe the road department help us? They're waiting on us, right? Coopers take it. It's a metal building. They're waiting on us right now to move that building so they can get started. I think it's waiting for a month. Actually, we sold that building. I mean, check it out. They can get rid of them. They can demolish it. Let's do that. It's property, yeah. It's so even though we only got $600.
they purchased it for $600. I think that's what they had. But we had to give them money back. I think
It'll cost us more than $600 to dispose of it.
Yeah.
Is that not something that the inmates could go to and earn their keep, so to speak?
You gotta be a little careful, because you still are liable for injuries and things of that nature as well. You can't use them for certain labors. You've got trustees that you can do roads and pick up and stuff like that. But I think we were talking about the highway department is still part of the county. They said that they could go demolish it for us, and that way we're not paying another company to come in and tear it down. And they've got the equipment and stuff to do. You can't let them use equipment. But we did have it sold, at least we made a little money off of it. But in the end, they thought it was a double wide, they couldn't move it, so.
James can do it.
We can actually
Get rid of it. Don't you think, Ralph?
They're well known.
James can get rid of that bill, because
I don't see why they couldn't demolish it.
I don't see why either.
I mean, he's got them excavators and track holes.
When we gotta have that completed by?
Last month.
Oh,
No, I'm talking, no, the whole project.
There's not.
There's no time.
We just got to give the contractor extra time while that building's sitting there that he can't be working.
Okay, so we're paying for it.
Yeah.
Kind of downtime right now.
And they're having the meeting over here in town.
I feel with James. Can you help us out?
I think all we can do is put it out in bid, somebody tear it down.
When do they come back? When do they come back? I'll ask.
Yeah, we are.
We'll ask James, but we need to do something. They're waiting to start the building for the whole town.
So then, page 41, so what this one has in it has, look at the property. Yes. So it's $566,940. That would be using, 12 cents.
So 12 and a half cents.
0.1286.
And that included us giving them a $2 an hour raise, plus they're gonna give them $1 an hour. Yes. So that gives them $3.
Yeah, they're going to.
Even though every year they get a raise.
Yes, and they do not have a,
They don't have a.
as far as the county commission is concerned, you can only approve or disapprove their whole budget. You can't say what they can, except for the money. The other thing is, they do not get step raises, and they do not get, like, they don't get the 1% per year when the regular certified, they only get that start rate. So you have some employees in the highway department that are making $19, they've been there 27 years. So it's just the start rate is the only rate that they can change, is they don't have a step raise.
But if they got the raise, the $19 an hour person would get the $3. If
Yeah.
the same as
Yeah, it's been like 27 years.
We can look at that. I had the same question.
Yeah, because, well, I think most people didn't realize that they don't have a step raise. It's either, you can get a big job or you can't. You know, most of them run Twitter and but that, just like we do it's not, we don't, you know.
We can't really go.
Oh, yeah,
think everybody gets money.
But is it fair to give somebody that makes, say, $20 an hour, a $3 an hour raise, where somebody that only makes $10 an hour, a $3 an hour raise, if they're doing the same job?
No.
It should be on the,
Percentage.
percentage.
10%.
It's an 8%.
It ought to be your level of
That was my whole thing when we did it. It's an 8% increase, which is not even cost of living increase. Just to be true.
We don't have just somebody that's making $8 and somebody making $20. It's not on there like that.
See, when we first started this, I wanted to do the percentages, so somebody made 70,000 at 8%, and somebody at 20,000 at 8%, the one at 50,000 is gonna get more, get more, which still don't bring the bottom line up to where it needs to be, like on the starting rates.
The start rate is where we were.
We're at, and then they're trying to retain the officers over there. We're losing officers, we're losing EMS, we're losing, like I told you before, the EMS, what's the paramedic, 47 right now? They not even that much?
They're making, what, $16 or something now?
So then they're going to Wilson County making 75,000 a year, right?
That's what we lost 14 this year.
I'm all for giving those ambulance and the sheriff's department that big a raise.
We'll just have a cutoff then. I mean, it should have $50, $70 an hour. Man, doesn't need that $3 raise. I mean, you can make a cutoff there. Give all the lower end that 10, 15% raise and have a cutoff. That would save a lot right there.
Well, but if I was one of those guys, guess what I would do? There's no future here.
It's like Tony said. It's like Tony said.
There's a discrimination law.
Right, I'll take it.
The discrimination laws say you deserve it, you don't deserve it, stuff like that. Now,
We can't, we're not educated enough, we don't do that. The only way we can assess jobs, like I told them before, we'd have to actually go in and do a desk audit on each position next year. There's no way you can do it right now, but you could go in next year, pay a company to come in here and call you up and ask you what your job description is. Or they got a clerk here, here's what it entails, and they would see if you're meeting those criteria. But when you do that, you'll probably, it'll be high, it'll be a whole lot higher than what we're doing right here.
Raise every year? And you're not doing evaluation?
it's up to the.
I get evaluations every year.
Right. It's up to, like the county official, their elected official, they can interview their office and do their thing in their office.
So each department can do an evaluation?
Yeah, they can.
Which determines whether they get this $3 or they get this, or they get $1?
Well, not on this one. This is trying to
We're trying to get the start rate.
Yeah, but yeah, they can do that.
You should have a start rate on the scale of what they're doing. Everything should be broke down on certain jobs and what you do.
It is.
You should have a start rate and stop rate.
There's a start rate. I think it goes up 1%. And so you're talking 1% is what, pennies on a dollar when it comes up, 2% or 1% is what, 20 cents if you're making $20. So a 20-cent raise if you're making a $20 on a 1%. So I mean, it's not jumping drastically every year. That's the reason why the salaries are so low. We can't keep people. We've become a training ground over at the sheriff's department, over at the animal service. They'll come in, we'll pay for them.
That's been that way all my life. All my life, it's the same thing.
Instead of paying for that training, why Kenyon's not do like a lot of these other places?
A contract.
A contract that if you stay, you get paid for it. If you don't, then you're.
And what a lot of other counties are doing, they'll come in and buy that contract out. And so you spend all that time and money to send somebody to school, and another county will say,
Make them pay for their own stuff.
well, then you can do what you hire no way.
Mr. Steve, could you explain to them what happens if we get a jail that's decertified, if we can't keep?
Oh, they'll shut us down.
They'll shut us down.
They'll shut, they did all the counties, they shut us down, then we'll have to pay other counties to, take our inmates. Yes, ma'am.
I'm just curious, how many sheriffs are left over there from this lawsuit that we're gonna give a $3 raise to? That's all I wanna know.
How many at the sheriff's department?
That's left that was involved in that lawsuit.
I don't know. I don't know how many was left over there that was involved, I don't know.
Mr. Nivens, do you by any chance know?
That would be, John's.
Maybe you can't fire them. You can't fire them.
Keep up with.
That'd be one more lawsuit, they wouldn't
Well,
criminally
I know
charge
we can't fire him, but I don't feel like they deserve a raise. If that's, my taxes is gonna pay for him to have a raise.
It's not a raise, it's a cost of living increase, basically.
I don't get a cost of living increase. I have to pay more taxes every year.
That's it.
I pay more taxes. I pay highway use taxes, which I don't know why I pay $550 a year for when my roads out here are horrible.
Exactly.
Then I gotta pay the taxes on my fuel that I pay. Every quarter I gotta pay $500 to $1,000.
Ma'am, I understand you're frustrated, but we.
I ain't frustrated. I'm gonna put it in my pipe and smoke it like you told me to.
No, I didn't tell you.
What you said.
You did. You say you didn't say that to me?
I said, I didn't say that to you, I told Miss Lois.
You said it in general. You said folks. Put it in your pipe and smoke.
I said, folks, we're gonna have.
So that's their way of
Smoke that one.
That's why I come up and address you. In your position, those words ain't you don't use.
You're exactly right. And let me apologize to you and anybody else that took offense to that, because.
I did. I went home and told my husband, and you told me to put it in a pipe and smoke it. Well, what are we gonna put in a pipe and smoke? I said, I don't know.
Folks, I'm an old country boy, I don't know how to talk. But that was misworded, and like I said, Jeremiah, apologize.
It wasn't me, I didn't take offense, I was representing people sitting in the room.
Well,
They sitting here on people sitting in that room don't deserve to be talking like that.
Wait, I ain't got up yet.
You're right.
And if I've been sitting there in your seat and I said it, I deserved it too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have nothing personal against you, I've known you for years.
I take full truth.
I have no problems.
Sometimes you'll stick
One that ain't
foot, sometimes you'll insert foot in mouth.
You're exactly right.
I do every day.
And a lot of times when you
Inserted
get-
somewhere else.
I was trying to explain to Miss Lois, I said that we don't really have anywhere to go to on this. We had to pay for the lawsuit, and.
But the problem with the lawsuit being brought up, $167,000 a year.
So you think
That's the lowest number that's in the budget.
I don't know if it will or not.
So talking about the lawsuit means nothing.
This will pay for.
I've heard this, people leaving.
What do you think is paying on solid waste?
Anywhere between 70 and 90,000 a month, plus you gotta pay $1.
Okay, instead of wasting money on that piece of property over here behind Tractor Supply, go buy your piece of property and put your landfill in.
Well, we can't.
Why?
It's against state law. It's karst topography. The series made of karst topography, which is cave systems. We can never build a landfill in our county again. And the rest of the river, the rest that's not karst topography is, falls into a Sink River system, which is Roaring River, and it's against the law. So Overton County can never, ever.
What if the county went out of county and bought a piece of property though? Would that work?
I don't know. There's a lot of state mandates.
Well, I mean, it takes equipment and stuff, I know.
You're talking about a whole lot of expense and liabilities and.
Well, you're talking about a lot of expense on this tax too, boss.
You got a multi-million-dollar business in Clay County, you've been running for years.
There's only a certain amount, there's only a few landfills left in Tennessee. These,
most of the big corporation out
Yes.
All right, so if y'all vote tonight, when would our taxes go in effect?
Well,
They gotta be voted
we
on.
can't vote on it tonight, it'll have to go through the full.
This is just a committee meeting, this is not court. So,
How much is it if you don't give them a $3 raise? How much you ask for? You don't give them a $3 hour raise.
We don't give them anything.
I mean, I can see it going up 4 or 5%. I wouldn't say another word about it. But I have problems with 18, 19, 20.
My thing is, why can the raise not wait till we can vote on it on a wheel tax? And plus,
I won't have any employees.
That's 2 years from, that'd be 2 years.
We would have-
Let me say this is personal between me and you. You won't have any employees, but you won't have a job.
That's right.
That's a guarantee.
Well, I can tell you that, if we are mandated to have an ambulance service, or mandated to have a police department, if they come in and shut all those down because we don't have anybody, we would have to hire a company to come in to treat our own citizens.
Putnam County would buy.
Putnam County's got
It'd be a private
private company that does that.
A private company would come in and.
Actually, the first thing to be done is to help be ran by counties sideways, so it's just like happened with Clay County when they shut down. That was the first thing that happened.
They'll end up, we have to have those systems in place, and then you wouldn't have local people treating local people.
Do we make any money off of our hospital? Does any of that money at our hospital come back to the county?
No,
Why?
private.
It's all private business.
They got big business.
I just pay a little property tax.
Yeah, let's move on, let's get finished.
So, on this, pages 45 and 63,
45 through 60.
and all the school and the 19
What page are we on, Stephen?
We're going,
45 through 63.
45 through 63 is the school.
The school?
And that's maintaining our maintenance of effort. Maintenance of effort is something we have to give every year, we can't ever take it back.
They didn't ask for any more, right?
They did not ask for any more.
You know, at the last meeting, you told me that I needed to address the school board on the wheel tax, that y'all didn't control that. Well, I called the school board, and I was told that you all have to pass their budget, and they're fixing to have to build 10 rooms on the Rickman School, and I said, why do you want to build 10 rooms there when you have empty classrooms up here, and why not zone the schools? Zone them. Or if these people want to take their kids to Rickman, charge them a fee, let them buy them classrooms.
They didn't like that Z word though, did they? I'm talking to some of them that they don't like that Z
You
word.
know,
They don't like the Z word.
yeah, we don't like
Well, I don't
They're
either.
coming to Rickman from Coolville and Jackson County. I know, my granddaughter goes.
But, you know.
Yeah, go down there and sit and watch the cars.
You're comparing us to Cookville and Lebanon and everywhere, and they zone the schools. They zone them. And I was told that, oh, we can't zone the schools because the basketball people would get mad. What's more important, a tax dollar or basketball?
To the school,
When I went to school,
basketball.
we
Well,
was
it shouldn't be,
No, it shouldn't.
What football is
But
up here.
football is too, yeah.
but y'all vote on their budget.
10 years.
And you just could vote no, the same as you vote yeah.
They never should have tore the Rickman High School down, period.
That's true. That was shut down because of basketball.
Yeah, because Livingston got tired of being beat.
That's it. Very true. Very true.
64.
64.
Well, I would believe it.
They don't want to go to the school that they're supposed to go to.
Hey guys, please.
that did not hold on to because we're looking responsible, you know, people where they have to do things, nursing homes, which we've never had to do, but, so there's no minimum requirement on that one. And then the next one is your education debt service And so that's just the school schedule. Maybe the one for money. And then the next one, on 67, is the education, the capital project fund. And that's what that one is, so that will be very long. And then we're on page 70. After we have our we started putting away state religions and that's how I know for us, we want this in our church.
Oh, on page 70.
We've got.
I haven't gone on page 70.
Ambulances, has it came back yet? The new one we had around. Expansion going on. Yeah, we've got another one. Fixing the big cent, we were waiting on the budget. They've sent the other new one to get it back. And we should have another one coming in, like it's been coming for 3 years, or 2 years.
And then on page 71, it's the capital project fund, that's for the health department grant, for the budget, we had to have so that will be reimbursed. It will be reimbursed. Every 30 days, after 30 days, at a time. If I'm
You see now, they hired a new lady that came in 2 weeks ago. I met with you, and that her job is to take the load off of you. And then they hired Andy Linford back, and I met with him yesterday. He's doing the same thing. He hired back on to work one day. I oversee all the projects, so we've been working with Andy. Remember Andy, he was over the health department.
Yeah.
He was overall, so he's coming back to help with all of it as well.
No, that's it, right here. That's it.
Private pay roofing service. What is that? On this one, it says private pay roofing services. PVT.
On what page are you on?
I'm on 2 of this here one.
Oh, that's on the school system.
That's the nursing home.
Nursing home.
Nursing home, okay. Well, I got one about the school thing. I heard that, during COVID, that the state paid for all the kids' lunches. Now, that school is trying to charge parents for what the state has already paid for. And that they didn't put in to get that $2 million grant in time.
I don't know anything about that, Ms. Lois. That would be all the school system, but I do know that they're trying to get those free lunches back. They told us when they met with us last month that they're trying to get the free lunches back for the kids. They did tell me that, but they never did say anything about trying to back charge parents.
It's on Facebook.
Yeah.
They
I know.
The money that the schools are trying to collect for lunches is what's due for your child eating there.
Thank you.
I mean, it's due, your child goes to school every day, and if you don't pay the lunch balance every week, day, month, whatever.
This was during COVID though.
Back charging.
Is what they were talking about, because the state pays for every kid's lunch. Now they want the parents to pay that back to them.
That'd be a Donnie Holman.
And, yeah, it's Donnie Holman, and you can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I would ask him, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I will.
I know a couple that went to Rickman and paid the whole back thing this week.
For their
There's a bunch of them.
For the whole debt that was, yes. Mm-hmm.
I mean, my granddaughter
Paid the whole
ain't
debt.
dead.
Yes, they did.
Because I kind of want to take that and look at it a little more and see if there's, yeah,
My understanding, the people that paid this past debt that they're talking about on Facebook is someone, a citizen concerned, went in and paid what was owed for this last school year.
Yes.
For those kids that didn't pay their balances. That's what that money was paid for, nothing to do with COVID or anything like that.
It was this
It's the last school year. It's this last school year, people stepped up and went to the schools and donated to schools. Allen School was one of them, Rickman School.
Yeah.
I don't know if all the schools were involved or not, but there was money appropriated to help pay, or the kids could not pay for their lunches this year. That money was used to pay those kids' lunches.
It was a private person.
It was a private person who went and done this.
Yes.
But it's to pay for this year, has nothing to do with COVID, this last year. That's all that paid for, was what the kids owed for this last year.
I believe it was a company, Steel something, company, I don't know.
That Rickman, it was a Steel family. I know them personally.
Yeah.
There was someone done the same thing at Allen School also.
Happy.
Where are we at on that?
Number 6.
We need a motion.
Can I clarify something before we go into vote? So you said, if I understood you correctly, that we cannot not approve this salary schedule as it is because we will be discriminating. We can't say, I know, when we was in that meeting the other night, the majority of everybody there that spoke said they didn't have a problem giving the $3 an hour raise to public safety. But they didn't want their taxes raised to give everybody. Is this right? I understand this correctly?
Exactly.
Everybody that I heard, that's what they were saying. But now you're saying we cannot say that we're not gonna give everybody $3 an hour across the board because we're discriminating?
Well,
Is that
the was, you deserve a raise, you don't deserve a raise, you deserve a raise, you don't deserve a raise.
Well, you should give them 50 cents to what
You
you
can't
better.
go into each department and say, because you do this job and this one does that job, I can't give you that $3 because I think you do your job better than he does and he's doing the same job.
right? But I'm not
You can't do
saying,
that.
I'm not saying department. I'm saying, and I'm not saying this, I've said this 100 times probably. I'm not saying that everybody don't deserve a $3 an hour raise. What I'm saying is, everybody should not get the same raise. I don't know of anywhere in any entity that gives everybody the same raise. It's percentage.
I worked for for 35 years and they give everybody across the board the same pay. It's across the road.
He worked for the Corps of Engineers, the federal government. He was talking about.
Federal government.
It seals, is that legal?
Go in a factory and see if you get that.
I know.
Right.
We're not a factory.
No.
Let's look at.
But they ain't no better than everybody else.
Let's say that. They're making, what, $12 an hour, somewhere around there, so let's look before we guess.
Does this raise, does it affect the, school people?
No, they have their own, and they are actually mandated by state to get to a certain dollar amount. In 2 years, the minimum payment would be $50,000 each for a teacher.
That's teachers, but what about your assistants and stuff like that?
See, that's all, they work out their own pay scale and things like that. Yes, sir.
May I approach you?
Yes, sir.
Just so you have, understand what I'm referring to, but last Friday there was called a meeting where Mayor Hayes approved a 9-cent raise. Now, that is supposed to cover those funds.
That's the city.
That's the city. That's the
But
city.
are we talking about the
That has
same
nothing to do
employees?
with the county.
No.
Okay.
See, these are county employees that we're talking about. City has their own employees.
The city
The city mayor
$3.
is different from the county.
He's going to.
So,
Clerk starts at
Okay, so now this raises it for the people that's in this office, like the people that work downstairs, like Victoria's office. It's across the board. You know, I'm from Oklahoma, I'm trying to understand politics. Y'all's politics is so different than it is at our house, where we're from. You know, we've only lived here 10 years. I just wanna know where all my taxes are going, so I know which one of y'all I need to come and smoke my pipe with.
Ma'am, you're not gonna let that drop.
Drag you out.
And I just want, you know, I make a lot of money off of it.
Smoke a lot of pipes in Oklahoma.
We smoke one of these pipes. Maybe we come out, we smoke one, we need to calm you down.
We're gonna go over the center.
I think we went to reservation now. Native resident.
1325. And we've got.
In the booking limit is May 14.
Is this with the raise or before the raise? So a clerk at, say Victoria's office starts at $13.25.
Yes.
Okay?
And then if they're a bookkeeper, there's no responsibility.
There's usually one that is on.
And they have to work with manager and they get so then.
It goes by your level of responsibility.
And how often do they get a raise?
And what's the
1% every year.
If it started at
Every year.
25.
But they do get a raise every year, you're saying, right? So that's better than a stipend.
What's top?
You're correct.
It depends on how many years.
So it tops out at some point.
Yeah, if you work 30 years, you'll top out.
There's no top out.
I mean, if you work 30 years, you top that.
How much do you make?
If you retire, you
Would
top
you get a
out.
raise?
And you ain't got somebody know. You ain't got
We should
like the same thing. We've been there
Well, I
for
thought we
7 or 8
would, but we have these raise, not our tithes.
No, he works for the federal government.
I used to, I'm retired.
I want some of that money.
What the complaint is trying to hire somebody for this, and the cost of living, trying to raise a family, trying to pay the house payments and things like that, it's hard to.
Well,
What about all of us that draw social security and everything in the world?
You're
We
living
got
on
land.
$1,200 a month.
We don't get an extra raise.
I asked Marsha Blackburn when she gets in.
$750.
Marshall Blackburn, I won't trust as long as I can see her.
Well,
Well, you
I
can't
got to
work,
bring
the
my
government
concerns.
takes it away from
Well, that's
you.
what we need to do. The fact is, I mean, I'm on fixed income. My Medicare, I got a raise on Medicare last year, yes, but my Medicare went up too, so it took care of it.
That's what, if you ask everyone here that was there, that was my question, Ms. Marsha Blackburn. And they even took it all the way to Washington DC, when I got to go to DC to represent our area in Tennessee. I
That's what they
said,
cost us.
nothing, the state pays for it. This is what I asked for. I said, the seniors in this county, or the seniors in Tennessee, this is what they got. They got raised, but then their Medicare went up to match that raise, so they really didn't get nothing.
We didn't get.
So they went in the hole.
Yes,
Well, that's what my question was, Marsha Blackburn, if there's not something that we can do for that, because they get a cost of living raise, but then their Medicare comes up to match that cost of living raise, so therefore, they didn't get nothing. And so I said that, and she came here to visit last month, and the same question was asked. I've asked her this question 3 times. I'm trying. I'm making the point known. I say it down there. I'm trying. That's what she says. If I'll look into it, but at least somebody is standing up and saying, hey, this needs to change, this is not right. I've asked them about Medicare, the reimbursements that Medicare pays for ambulance services and things like that, so we charge a certain amount, but Medicare will only pay so much. I said, what about the deficit that the county is stuck with? I've asked about that, and they said, well, you know, we've got to pay for it somehow, and I said, we've got to pay our ambulance service to run as well. I said, so what are we doing here? We're going in a circle. I said, we've got to come up with a system to keep this thing going. But yes, I have asked the same questions that you're asking in the top level. And I asked, not just Marsha Blackburn, but, Haggard, I asked him the same question.
But that's our two that we talk, there's Daisy Lake that's not in our area. I got to ask him the same question too. But we'll get back to this right quick. So that's what we're talking about. On that. Yeah. He said basically unless you live at home with your parents and don't have kids, it's hard to hire for somebody for something like that. And this is coming, it's not from me, it's coming from him that's trying to staff his office.
And whose office are you talking about?
I'm talking about Jimmy. Victoria, a lot of turnover.
Well, it's hard for everybody where we're at now. And I work with people that don't make a whole lot more than that too, and they're taking care of patients in the hospital. That's a lot harder, and you know how they do it? They work more than one job, and I'm not trying to be negative, but some of these people, they don't have the option to go out and work a job so they can pay for it.
I don't. I tried. Government took everything.
If we don't have people that work in the office, we don't. And that's what we're trying to find, not having the staff to
I'm doing the across the board thing, saying that we've always done that with every year. This one, I don't remember how many years ago it was. Sorry. Still, they was talking about the $15 or what, there. We went ahead and up some of those, but not all of them, just to try to get closer to what that was.
But do you have to give everybody a raise all at one time across the board, or can you not?
If you didn't, like Ms. Lillian said, you'd be discriminating against.
Well, does it have, that ain't discrimination, Miss Lily. Does it have to be $3? Who come up with that amount, lady?
I mean, I don't think the
Yeah,
secretary.
the sheriff kind of started the $3 because they can go from, the deputies. Him back here, he can go across the road to the city and make $3 more now.
Yeah.
And he's trying to compete with the city.
Yeah. I don't think a secretary ought to get the same amount of raise as an ambulance worker or a cop, you know?
Make that decision.
So,
I
I
can't make
mean,
that decision.
well, yeah, I guess you said.
That is their discrimination. I need to sue everybody. Everyone.
So, I don't know if it's a big deal, but there's also benefits. I mean, is there benefits we can give employees to help keep them?
I have tried to do better benefits.
Yeah.
I went and down to the state capitol to get our insurance, try to get it lowered, because nobody can afford family insurance here. Our family insurance, if, and what was it, I was gonna have to pay $1,800 a month for family insurance. We can't, there's only 3 people in the county that has family insurance, and 2 of them's elected officials, so they don't really count. One of them don't get a paycheck. And because he has to have family insurance. And so I went to the Capitol 3 times to sit down with the insurance committee. I took Miss Connie with me. We brought our paperwork and said, this is what our employees are having to pay to be on the state insurance level. And I said, I understand that, you know, this is a good insurance plan, but you can't afford it. And so we paid $600 to go towards a single person plan. That's what my department does. So that would include the ambulance service, that would include the sheriff's department, that would include the solid waste, things of that nature. That's the area of the benefits that we cover. Now, PCRS, at state mandate, they come in and make you do a retirement. And so they automatically take a certain amount out of your check and put it in retirement, whether you want them to or not. They do it, they jerk it out.
But as far as other benefits, we pay for single coverage, and we pay 600, and it went up again this year. 618 towards single coverage. That's what this, the teachers have their own deal, the road department has their own deal. But just for the county, that's where our bulk of our employees are. Now, last year, I did, as an extra benefit, it's not a lot, but it's something. Went and got Harry back, and it covers your whole household. So if your great grandma lives with you, it covers everything.
It costs $300 for 5 years.
It, well, we got it at a set rate, but it's per person per year, and that covers your whole household. That, like I said, it ain't a lot. It ain't. You quit Parker and come work for me just because I offer everybody, you know? But it's something.
More seniority, more days. I mean, there's a lot of different stuff that keep people where they need to be at.
Yeah.
Other than just pay. I know pay's a big part, but if you throw other things at them, there's more incentive to stay.
We've tried, we looked into trying to get it lowered, and they looked at us and said, give me more money and I'll lower it.
Yeah.
So there ain't no difference in us giving them more money to lower it than. Yeah. But we're trying on the benefits side, because I looked at benefits last year, because we didn't get a raise last year.
Yeah.
But the corrections officer making $13 an hour, and McDonald's is paying $12.50.
Yeah.
Would you walk across and get spit on, get a chance to get hepatitis C, stuff like that for?
I understand, yeah.
50 cents less?
You get at McDonald's, there's as far as food to eat.
I'm not going to comment on that.
That's why we keep telling you, we don't care to give the law and the ambulance people a raise. It's all this other, when we can't afford it.
Well,
When you
I'll
get the
tell you
money in
this,
there, it ain't there.
to defend my workers, if it wasn't for the workers in my office, none of us be able to do our office job if it wasn't for the clerical that's in our office that's busting their tail to do their job. I don't have 200 people that does the same job. I have one person that does that job. And sometimes they do 2 or 3 jobs, just that one person. And they bust their tail to get that done. And just like I told Mr. Wendell, if you don't work, I don't need you. And I will get rid of you, just because I think I'm paying you to do a job, and I'm not wasting taxpayers' money to pay you to sit around, not do your job, or something like that. I will not put up with it, because I think of this. You're paying them. You're trusting me to pay them with your money. And if they're not working, I don't need you. And I will. If they don't work, I don't need you. But I'm going to move past that, because I've taken it too long. I'm saying this. I'm trying my best to watch over and be fair to everybody, because these people here bust their tail to do their job. These people here get screamed at, yelled at every single day. And it's not fair to somebody to be stressed so much that just answering the phone to get something taken out of it that wasn't their fault. But they're being as nice to you as they can to try to help you with your situation. And they'll pass you on to somebody that can help you, or if somebody in there, they'll help you try to figure out what's going on. I've helped people that had a plumbing issue that was screaming at me saying it was my fault. Well, I ended up trying to get them help, but that wasn't our fault. And I didn't deserve to get cussed out, but I got them help. That's what my job is, to try to help somebody out. But there's people that work here, that's their job. There's one position for this, one position for that. We don't have them. Like if you go to Avery, there's 20 people that does the same job. We don't have that. Right. Well, we need more people, but we're consolidated down.
Well, what have you decided to vote on as far as the tax rate? Is it what you proposed?
Right here, right now, they're wanting to think about it some more.
Hey,
So
can I
they're
ask
not
a
wanting to vote on anything right now.
Who paid the settlement when Bud Swallows was the sheriff? The land taxes didn't go up then. Well, you would have, now that was probably your time.
it's much past 2 weeks.
Not me.
I don't think that they,
My opinion, I'm gonna take us on a look at it.
they want to leave July the 9th.
That's, I'd like to do a continuation.
It's been July the 9th.
Are you gonna cancel the 8th?
Yes.
Yes, the 8th will be canceled.
So the 9th, what time, same time?
Let me look at the 9th here.
5:30, where you got a ball game?
I think that's what I'm thinking. From the nursing's point of it.
I'm supposed to be a senior executive at 4:30.
Oh, what?
Tuesday, Wednesday?
Fire, we're not doing eight.
No.
Is that already scheduled?
We had a county court meeting scheduled, but we're going to cancel it, because we're not ready for it. We're not ready for it.
Is that the only thing that's gonna be on the agenda?
Not much more than that, because we haven't had any meetings.
So we're canceled till what,
we were going to look over this, and if we had passed this, then run it in the paper for 10 days and then have court after that.
This has gotta be in by September, no later than September the 15th. It's gotta be in their hand, right?
We had to pass it by August.
By August 1st? Yeah, okay.
Well,
Somebody
you
said
get a
31st.
contingency to go to the 30th, but
Yeah, I'd probably.
If you're gonna vote on a property tax increase, are we still gonna get to vote on a sales tax increase? Are we gonna have both increases?
so you won't be able to do a sales tax for 2 more years.
Yeah.
It would be 2 years before you would, and we would only go up to match what the city is at 9.75.
Well, that's the same.
That's the state max anyway.
The only thing they can change right now is property tax.
The only things we can change right now.
Well, we don't need to go 19, so you just need to figure out something else.
I try to keep it short,
We
but
don't need to go up
the only
19%.
short such
They
thing
don't need
is
$3 a raise. I don't care.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They don't need $3 a raise to give everybody. I mean, a dollar's fine. Next year, give them some more money, you know, like that. Next 3 years, you know, you get them up there gradually, but you don't give somebody $3 hour all at once. That's just unheard of.
Go ahead.
there's a little over in bids.
I mean,
Is there somebody that makes an effort to recruit? Is there somebody that tries to go out and search for bids? I know what last meeting we had here, there was 1 bid for this, we had 3 for this. Is there such, because I mean, some of his jobs, I mean, I'm sure, Mr. Laycock could even handle, his equipment.
Now, we put out bids. All right. We put if we bid out projects, we put it in the paper. It has to be in the paper to bid out projects.
Right.
And then you are allowed to come in and put a bid in on that. Because the highway bids is what we talked about last time. We opened that up, put it in the paper, makes people it's gotta be sealed bids. The budget committee opened those sealed bids right in front of everybody. They took a knife, cut it up and pulled it out, didn't know what was in there until we pulled it out and looked at it. Same way if we had we bid out the health department, or not the health department, the community center. We bid that out and opened that up as well. So everything, it has to be bid out, anything over $25,000.
Okay, get on Facebook. I've got a John Deere with a grapple. I could probably do that demolition project for you.
If you're insured and bonded, you have to be insured and bonded, things like that. But we're trying to do it for free. The highway department. Save a little money.
You gotta have a license too.
Okay, so are you not approving the salaries?
Not right now, it looks like we're gonna meet again. Are y'all fine with meeting on Monday?
What
Wednesday?
day is that?
Wednesday the 10th?
The 10th of July?
You'll be here that day, July the 10th.
It'd be better having this meeting.
They got it.
Be better to have you here.
Okay, I can do it.
What time?
We're looking at 5:30 or 5.
Why don't you change all this crap to 6 o'clock?
Well, every
Be
September,
9 o'clock when we got
every
out.
September, they meet to decide where they're gonna meet, what time they're gonna meet, then they pick the chair and all this stuff. So that's every September. The first court meeting in September, they pick their chair, their co-chair, and then they pick their meeting spot and what time they're gonna meet.
That's something else I'm talking to you about.
Okay?
Why are you not sitting up there in the old courthouse? Why ain't you sitting up there instead of clerk?
Because I wasn't voted in to be their chair.
Well, that needs to change, and I'll tell you
That's
all
because
that.
he's not a yes man, like Dan Donner or whatever his name is. He said yes to everything and he brought a donut.
Let's go of this. Number 7, any new or old business to discuss?
Yes, I would
We've
like,
lost.
are y'all gonna put in effect that sunshine law? And how come you don't have like, where we have an open meeting where it was on a screen and you didn't know what everybody was voting and all that? Are y'all gonna do anything like that? Or
Well, I proposed it in December. Cost,
You got it.
it cost $25,000 to do it. I think we had looked at paying for it with a grant, but it's still on the table to revisit later. I've been speaking with the open meeting people. They're wanting to do a Zoom meeting, and we're just waiting for the budget to go through so that I can propose to look into doing something like that. I think everybody, well, I've got a lot of feedback on it, and a lot of people like that idea, and I think we should revisit it. But that
I
open
think that would be
meetings,
more fair than what we're doing right now.
the open meetings is what I seen of it, a lot of the counties are going to it now. It's a computer automatically takes the minutes, it puts it on the screen, it shows the
yeah, in
agenda.
Oklahoma, everybody had their own microphone where we could hear Ms. Connie or we
It
could
comes
hear.
to that too, yeah, that open meeting.
But we ain't on home, Betty.
I know, but why do you, I mean, the staff
You're
kids.
spending more money.
It's still.
The city's got it.
No, they don't have that one. They got the camera system and the microphones, but see, the open meetings comes with a tablet and it's electronic. You push the button that says here, and there's no roll call. You say you're here, and then when you.
Then nobody will be intimidated by Darwin or Mr. Boswell or Mr. Pike over here.
But yeah, you're right. When they go, not that, but in the sense of nobody knows how anybody else is voting, you are correct. It'll have it up on the screen and it'll say voted, voted, voted. It doesn't say how anybody else voted until the last person votes, then it reveals how everybody else votes. There's
Well, that's
no roll
more
call
fair.
of yes, yes, yes.
So if you go to that system, does that mean we can't come to the meeting?
We say yes or no.
It's totally
You'll hear
transparent.
it and you'll see it up here.
What it does, it don't let it be deleted. If you've got 9 that's voted one way and you're thinking the opposite, it ain't gonna lead you to follow suit. You don't know what your other commissioners have
You
voted.
are correct. Y'all do say yes or no, but I watched all of y'all last time in that other building that way.
Yes, sir.
Y'all gave some of the hatefulest ghost looks to each other I've ever seen in my life.
We like one another.
No, y'all don't. Y'all are intimidated by that Darwin Clark. I wish he could have given me
The
my
next appointed meeting is what, the 10th? Wednesday, July the 10th.
Let me know if he puts it in the time and smoke it.
I need a motion to
I'm a
adjourn.
drug test, you know.
Shane gives me that motion, I hear a second by.
I second it.
Can you do that? Yes, we do. All in favor, say aye.
Let me say one more
All in
thing.
favor, say aye. All right.
Let me say one more thing. Why don't you just think about like they done the garbage tax and everybody with a mailing address pay X amount of dollars one time and be done with it. And if they don't pay it,
Done a whole lot of it. for this little thing, Brian, you throw a whole lot of evidence.
Well, don't you remember when we had to pay that tax? Yeah. I paid it. I never got my money back. I paid two of them. A $60 one and a
Okay, so that guy,